What a chapter. What a chapter of the best-selling manga in history, man. This was one of those chapters that just had it all. Great character moments, awesome, and I mean awesome battle sequences, bro. When this gets animated and we see Nico Robin embracing her Kazuya Mishima, her Ulquiorra going Resurrección, segunda etapa, don't forget that part. Segunda etapa. In the midst of this, you have Brook having his awesome character moments as well. Man. And then on top of that, you end the chapter with a theory that we had been thinking about for so many years, and to see it coming into fruition, to see it actually taking place before our very eyes, the possibility of it. What a chapter. What a chapter, man. So I think I'm going to split the Afterthoughts this week into 4 sections. The first section, we're going to talk about some color pages. You know we have to. You know we have to, man. You know we have to. There's one color page in particular that I found to be very fascinating. And there's another color spread that was talked about heavily. Chapter 310 color spread I thought was very interesting as well. Then we're going to dive into the Robin, Black Maria, and Brooks stuff because man, oh man, that was super, super awesome. And then we're going to dive into the Momonosuke and the possibility of turning into an adult. What does that mean for the future and whatnot? And then we're going to end it off with future power-ups for the rest of the Straw Hats, because after what we saw this week with Robin, are we about to get another Enies Lobby? Are we about to real deal hop into another situation? We're going to get not back to back awesome Straw Hat power-up sequences, because I'm all down for that, man. Especially since our crew is going to be known as an Emperor's crew after this. Oh, man. So we'll talk about it. But first and foremost, let's get right into the color spreads. Before we get into that, apparently I was told that I don't do this enough. So please, if you like the content, make sure to subscribe and like the video, you know, all that jazz. But without further ado, let's get right into these color spreads. The first one. Now, this one right here, while looking back on it, it's one of those color spreads that I always say there's certain things that may be done intentional or unintentional and we'll never know because we're not inside of Oda's head. But it's very interesting with context, especially with the way that certain things are worded. And I'm talking about this color spread right here. So this color spread has this dragon right here on the top, and then right under it says seafood. Now, of course, I'm talking about the whole koido, you know, the koi fish situation and whatnot, but the dragon looks like a combination of Kaido's dragon form and Momonosuke's baby dragon form. So it's like, will Momonosuke's adult dragon form look anything like this, right? And that's the first thing I thought of, bro. I was like, it'd be really cool if we could see Momonosuke's adult dragon form be like the one from the chapter 310 color spread, which I'll talk about here in a second. But it does retain some of the features of his current form, right? So I'm interested. But the whole seafood and the dragon thing really just started, you know, revving the brain in terms of thinking about Oda's creative process. Now let's go into chapter 310 real fast, and that color spread. So just in case you did not go back and look at this one, it was all over the place after this chapter came out. I'm talking about this color spread right here, which is one that we had always gone back to whenever we were thinking about Wano and what could Wano bring, what could Wano look like, and just, this was always one of the most popular color spreads. Now, when you look on Luffy's, the design on his armor right here, you see, of course, the Kozuki crest. Now, remember, this is back in chapter 310. So this was released around early 2004, if I'm not mistaken. So the Kozuki crest was already in Oda's mind, as well as the pink dragon, which would later become Momonosuke. And, of course, later down the line, adult dragon Momonosuke. At least I believe to be the case. So with the Kozuki crest being here and the implications of a dragon Momonosuke or a pink dragon, right? It really made me think about Oda's creative process. Now, of course, I'm thinking of this from someone who's also within the craft of writing and thinking about how I approach certain things. Now, I'm no Oda. You know, Odas are special. You feel me? There's only one Oda. You feel me? So I don't know how it is. I mean, I've researched his creative process. I've researched how he does certain things, but you'll never be able to truly go into his mind. Now, one thing that's always been very interesting to me is how he handles, or when it was revealed that he came up with certain legendary scenes, like Shanks stopping the war, for example. That was a moment that he came up with in the spot of the moment. It was serendipitous. But the reason why it was that, and the reason why it flowed so well, is because he was already in that consistent flow of writing, and creativity flowed off of the page as he continued, where even something that he hadn't previously thought of flowed very naturally because he had already been doing this for so long and doing it consistently. So when it just flew out of his mind, I was like, oh yeah, this is a perfect thing to throw in there. And it ended up being one of the most hype and amazing moments in the whole story. But I guarantee you, he always had a general idea of a way that he wanted to end certain things or end certain arcs. Like you look back to the Nakama scene in Alabasta and stuff like that. But he probably didn't have like a full scope of how exactly he wanted to do things. Now, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this in terms of Wano. We know he'd always wanted to do Wano, even back to the one-shots, you know, with Ryuma. And then, of course, we see all the different color spreads and the little tiny moments of Wano lore that we would get throughout the story, you know, sprinkled in every now and then. But the fact that he had the Kozuki crest and Momonosuke's dragon form all the way back then, it really makes you think, what else did he think of back in 2003, 2004, and even before that? Did he think of the time travel elements? Did he think about Kaido being the individual who would be ruling over this place? Did he think of the fact that Roger finding the One Piece would be revealed here, like in Wano? Like, did he know of this? Because we know how excited he had been for Wano. I mean, my man even stated that the chapter 909 color spread, or the double spread, when they enter Wano, is one of his top 5 favorite moments, or top 3 favorite moments in the whole series. That's how excited he was to get into Wano. You can just tell by how amazing Wano and Onigashima have been on a consistent basis. The love and care put into this arc. I mean, he puts love and care into every arc, but you can just tell, you know, in this arc, my man has been going in, both within the stuff that's taking place in Wano and the stuff taking place outside of Wano. All of this is something that Oda's been super hyped to work on. So, and so with that being said, I just wonder how much of that he had in his mind from all the way back then. And when I think about that, it really makes me appreciate him as a storyteller, to have the patience, right? Because my man thought about this at the very least at this time, at the beginning of 2004. And he didn't get to write any of it, or at least start writing the implications of it, until Zou, or, you know, Punk Hazard, so 2012, still 8 years. But to really start talking about what the Kozuki clan is, and what Wano would be, we're talking Zou now. We're talking, you know, revealing the Kozuki crest. We're talking revealing the word poneglyphs. We're talking all this stuff that is integral to the end game of One Piece. How long has that man had, at the very least, those ideas in his mind? And stuff like that fascinates me as somebody in this craft. I just find that to be super, super fascinating, man. And so that's why I wanted to bring that up, because the fact that he had the Kozuki crest and Momonosuke's form all the way back then, stuff like the other color spread with the seafood and the dragon, is just, it makes me wonder how much of this he's had in his mind, not planned, right? And the patience, you gotta respect the patience of long-form storytelling like this, man. But speaking of patience and long-form storytelling, Nico Robin, man. I talked about this a little bit in the reaction, about how much I loved the way this fight was structured, both in 1020 and in 1021, specifically with the themes, right, of relying and depending on other individuals, and really appreciating the fact that you're being depended on. And so that was for 1020. And 1021, self-acceptance is a huge thing here, man. The fact that Robin has now gotten to the point, because now we're seeing it all over, right? We're seeing it to where she sees Clover and Olvia, and she's able to move past those illusions, accept they are illusions, and that is a part of her past that she can never take back. but now she'll be able to move forward with the things that have given her life now, which is her family and the Strawhats. And to see her fully embrace this concept that has been holding her down for so many years, the reason why individuals like Blackbeard, individuals like Kaido, all these people that want her, like Black Maria stated, everyone wants her for her ability to read the poneglyphs. But you know why the Strawhats want her? The Strawhats want her because they genuinely love her, man. They genuinely can't imagine this journey without Nico Robin by their side. And Robin fully is now in a position to where she can fully embrace this moniker that has been holding her down for so many years in the Demon Child. So much so that she's even willing to become that in order to defeat Black Maria. Because she knows that no matter what she turns into, they are going to accept her for it. And that's beautiful. That's self-acceptance. That is freedom. Right? And so to see that happening within Nico Robin in this chapter, directly after getting a flashback of what she did to herself during the 2-year time skip while she was training with Sabo and Koala, potentially learning a whole bunch of awesome techniques. But in this chapter, seeing the Fishman Karate, which was super awesome, and then finishing it off with the Demonio Fleur. And you see the Resurrection form. You see her turn into a Kazuya Mishima gang. And utilize this technique, which we have no idea what this is, whether it's awakening. I saw some people saying it was arm hockey, whatever it was, whether it was an illusion, something that actually happened, we don't know. We don't know what the transformation sequence was, but it happened. And it was something that Oda wanted us to see, and very specific to Nico Robin. And so it was just so well done, and the way that this fight was, the way that he was consistent with the themes throughout the entire battle, of how Black Maria continued to just drill home the fact that Sanji was a loser for doing this and for doing that, and how Robin and Brook would not say a single thing. And then when Robin did speak, Wings of the Pirate King and whatnot, but just the consistency within the battle to showcase how much these characters have grown and how much the Straw Hats truly mean to them. And in both Robin and Brook, because Brook had his awesome moments as well, and Brook had his moment where Black Maria was talking trash to Brook, and Brook was like, yo, you're looking at me, you're talking trash to me, when the individual you should be worrying about is the one that's right over there. She's really no whisk it all right now, because the thing is, right, Black Maria brought out Word Life Thugonomics Brass Knuckles and was going in on Robin's son. He even brought out the poison-tipped legs. I mean, seriously, she was going in on Robin. Robin had no business getting back up, but she did. She did because of all the stuff that she had learned within the Koala flashback and her iron will. This moment finally being relied upon, finally being depended on to take somebody out, somebody of a high caliber out, and she has the potential and the skill set to do so. And what does she do? She gets right back up and starts going in like sumo in the way that only she can, man. Utilizing the Hana no Mi to the highest extent. And it was so awesome to see it. And even using stuff like, the flames, which of course, just like the way that her moniker had been tying her down for so many years, flames, man, being afraid of flames. We saw how much flames had impacted her psyche back in Enies Lobby in Water 7. Just seeing those things remind her back of O'Hara and the O'Hara flashback. Just hearing a Buster call just would make her tremble. And so within this chapter, to be presented with those same flames and to put all that to the side and be like, no, I'm still winning. Like it doesn't matter if these flames are here. This is new. I'm no longer alone on this, man. I don't have to worry about the past anymore. And it's the same thing when it comes to the rubble and the fact that she was able to use Fisherman Karate to bring the rubble down on top of her, which was the very thing that Luffy had to use, or it was in a situation when Luffy had to go rescue her and tell her, like, yo, you gotta live. Like, I understand you just got betrayed by Crocodile, but for the love of all that is Flagnars, we're getting you out of here. And so for her to use both of the things that tied her, actually all three of the things that tied her down for so many years, the flames, her moniker, and the debris coming down, which signified the betrayal that Crocodile had, which also signified the betrayal that everyone else had always done to her. Another big theme in this arc, betrayal. But Robin was like, screw all that, man. I'm using every single thing, every negative that's ever been turned against me, and I'm turning it into a positive. Why? Because these are my people. And no matter what I become, no matter what happens, I got Brook behind me, and even far beyond that, I got Sanji depending on me. Luffy's gonna be the Pirate King. I'm going up in like swimwear, and I love it. I love it because it is long-form storytelling at its finest. It is Nico Robin's character journey flourishing, blossoming, with the Hana Hana no Mi before our very eyes, and I loved every second of it. Robin versus Black Mighty is going to go down as an amazing fight. We had been waiting so many years for Robin to have a true battle, and she ended up having not only her best fight, but to be quite honest with you, one of the best fights in this entire arc, man. Amazing stuff. Really awesome. Can't wait to see what Toei ends up doing with this battle, because the manga version of it was superb. And once again, shout out to Brook, man. Brook overcoming his past as well. Depending on Robin to take out Black Money, fully believing in him, fully believing in Robin to take care of the job, while he goes over here and one-shots all of the other individuals here, man. You love to see it. You love to see it, and you see the growth from both characters, and you get some awesome character moments between the two. And when Robin shrinks back down, I saw a couple comments stating, oh, is it like a Gear 3rd thing? Whenever she uses this new transformation, does he shrink or something? I don't think she necessarily shrinks. I just think it's because we were so used to seeing her so huge. When she came back down, maybe she doesn't have enough hockey, if it is hockey, or she doesn't have enough of her, and enough energy left, and so she starts falling, and the way that she's falling possibly makes her look smaller. I don't know. And we got to remember, Brook is also really big, and Black Mighty is also really big too. So Robin, in comparison to the two of them, is pretty small. So I don't know, man. Well, I guess we'll have to see when it comes to that. But just really interesting stuff. And actually, I guess I'll save the Momonosuke thing for the last part, because now, speaking of Robin's forms, let's talk about the possibility of the other Straw Hats getting power-ups here. Now, every other Straw Hat, because Robin hadn't fought in so long, this was her moment, her time to shine and showcase some new abilities. Excuse me, you could technically say that Nami got hers in Zeus. You can say that Zoro got his with Enma. You could say that Sanji got his with the raid suit, and then Luffy, of course, right now with the Rio Hockey and the Conqueror's Coating, right? So you see those as their power-ups within Wano / Whole Cake, right, in the last two arcs. But I do wonder if, now that we saw the final attack, this felt like a final attack. The thing that I did not feel while reading the other Toropa battles, which is why I was so confused whenever they ended, quote unquote, was I didn't feel like Jinbei versus Huzu ended, because even the Brick Fist was awesome to the face. I felt like it wasn't going to end there. My man Frankie put in work. That Radical Beam was awesome, but it didn't feel like a final attack, right? So when I saw this felt like a final attack. This felt like a way to end a battle. This felt like classic Oda ending his battle in super epic fashion, in a way that just left us all mind blown. And so when I saw that, it really made me think about the rest of the battles. So are we gonna get to see, whenever we cut back to Frankie versus Sasaki, when we cut back to Jinbei versus Who's Who, when we cut back to what could be Usopp versus Page One and the final part of Nami versus Ulti, will we see, quote unquote, other awesome final moves that we've never seen before? Or was this exclusive to Robin because Robin, we hadn't seen her fight in so long? Right, so I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure because I don't know how much time Oda wants to spend on Toropa battles. I 100% believe that we're not done with any of them except for this one. This one's over. The Black Maria fight's over. She's not getting back up. I don't know why, but she ain't getting back up, right? Black Maria has served her term, and I'm very interested still in her character. And after talking about what I did in 1020, I'm really, honestly, like, super impressed by the way that Oda handled this fight and never delving into any portion of her backstory, because that just leaves it up for interpretation now, I suppose. But going back to the other Straw Hats, now I'm really curious on how their battle's going to end, because if this was the way that Robin's ended and how awesome it was, can you imagine how it's going to be for the other battles? How Sanji versus Queen's going to end? How Zoro versus King's going to end? How Luffy versus Kaido's going to end? And it's like, you think about the other power-ups, the other new things we could possibly see within this arc. Now, like I said before, certain things can be considered to be seen as their power-ups already. It's just that they haven't fully mastered these things yet, right? Like, Luffy has not mastered the Conqueror's coding yet. He has not mastered real hockey yet. He has not, Zoro has not mastered Enma yet. Stuff like Nami not mastering Zeus yet. Still small stuff like that. The battles could be centered around them getting that mastery, getting closer to mastery. We already saw with Luffy versus Kaido as, the thing that's going to do the finishing blow. But I do wonder if on top of that, we will see either... Now, I don't know if Oda's going to give them necessarily new, like, transformations or whatever, right? Like, that remains to be seen. But I do wonder if they'll all be getting their own specific... Because the thing is, right, last week we were talking about how these Toberable fights are going to go and how we're going to progress through both the Momonosuke and Luffy plotline, while we also progress through the Yamato and Kaido plotline. At the end of the beginning of chapters, or the middle of chapters, is going to be specifically for the Toborobo and the battles with the Calamities. So while those battles are taking place, we progress to the story with the other ones. My whole thing now after this week's chapter is I really want to know how the other battles are going to end and whether everybody's going to get a brand new finishing move, which I fully expect. After this week's chapter, I fully expect everyone to get a really awesome finishing move. Or will it be a finishing move accompanied with a full-blown power-up, right? Especially for individuals that we have not seen their power-ups, quote-unquote, post-time skip, like how we saw Robin's with this week. Like, I would love to see a situation where we see Usopp utilize something that we have never seen him use post-time skip here, or have his observation hockey blossom even further. Where he was able to see in the battle in Dressrosa, where we saw him have the wall hacks on, he was able to see through the walls, and further emphasize on that, right? And give us another moment like that. Except now it's like it's actually, closer and closer to getting mastered. And so I wonder how Oda's going to handle these, because all the Toberable fights have been so unique to each battle. The way each battle has taken place has been very unique. With Jinbei and Who's Who, specifically on Jinbei's past and how that motivated him in order to want to take out Who's Who, and then Who's Who providing information on the Gomu Gomu no Mi and the CP9 and CP0 and stuff like that. And then, of course, the Frankie and Sasaki, that was just straight hands. Frankie go up in like somewhere, Nami and Ulti taking place over a sporadic time period and over multiple chapters. And then Robin and Black Maria just straight up insane, filled with amazing character moments. So every battle has been different. So because of that, I don't know if every battle will end in the same type of way. But I fully do expect us to have, at the very least, a finishing sequence similar to what we saw in this week's chapter, which is going to be very reminiscent to that of Enies Lobby and Alabasta, where every single fight, we know when every fight ended. And that's why I think we're going to go back to every Todoroki battle and see their finishing maneuvers and possibly a brand new power-up for all of them. Because after this arc, or not, if it's not a brand new power-up, then the getting closer to mastery moment for all of these Straw Hats, especially for the characters, like I said, of Nami, of Luffy, of Sanji, and of Zoro, of these individuals that have not mastered their current abilities and are getting closer and closer to that, right? So it's going to be interesting on seeing how Oda does it, but I can't wait to see their finishing maneuvers, because if we're about to get a lot of other final attacks in the same way that we just saw with Robin's, this is about to be an amazing volumes worth of content incoming, because next week or the week after, whenever One Piece comes back, we're going to get another finishing blow. I guarantee it. It's going to be either Frankie versus Saki or Jinbei versus Who's Who or whatever it is. It's going to be another finishing blow, and it's going to be super, super epic. So I can't wait to see some more of that, man. I really, really can't, because it's going to lead into some more just awesome moves they can utilize and showcase in the future, because what Robin used this week is something that we know she has not fully mastered, both in the Fisherman karate aspect and in the Resurrection. So it's like now we're going to get to see her come closer and closer to that mastery as the series progresses. And we're going to figure out what in the Flying Five Miners that is. Right? Because now that form reminds me of the first time I saw like the Diablo Jumbo and the Ashura, where I was like, what in the world am I looking at? And is it truly hockey, or is it some, like, it's another one of those, right? So it's super cool, super cool. But let's go ahead and finish off the video with the final topic, and that is the Momonosuke. And the adult Momonosuke, you know, something we had been talking about for so many years, especially here on the channel. And it's just, above all else, I want to know what we're going to get in terms of character moments that come from this, right? If it is going to happen, which, regardless of whether you're on the side of it not happening or it happening, I think we can get awesome character moments from either one. So, for example, if it doesn't happen, if Momonosuke instead goes back and says, you know what, I don't want this to happen, that would be a really awesome moment for Momonosuke's character, stating that he wants to do this in the way that he currently is, because it doesn't matter how much of a kid he actually is, he can still make a decision worthy of being an adult. You know, that not only adults, that adults aren't the only ones that make the decisions around here, and he can prove that he can carry the legacy of Kozuki Oden even as a small child. And I think that would cause a really awesome moment if he were to take Luffy up there as a small dragon, present himself before Kaido, and Kaido sees Oden within a small child. I think it would be really cool to see something like that. On the flip side of that, with the more interesting decision of Momonosuke actually turning into an adult, this would then provide many different character moments, right? Momonosuke's resolve to become an adult and now trade away years of his life, because granted, he was 10, 20 years into the future, and even though his soul is going to remain as an 8-year-old child, his body is going to age from here on out, right? It's not like it's going to stay like this forever. So he's going to continue on from 28 and onwards. So that's going to be taking away a lot of time out of Momonosuke's life just to get that progression, that instant progression. It's not like Momonosuke's going to become instantly strong. It's just a symbol of him now as an adult progressing forward and just seeing the strength of his resolve to do this, to sacrifice himself in this way in order to actually achieve his goal and to overcome his fears. And so then you get moments between him and Luffy being like, what in the world happened to you, Momonosuke? Like, yo, Momo, what's good? What happened? Is that you? And then Momonosuke and him have these little moments. I was of the belief that we'll get some panels of the two of them speaking, possibly, but we don't see Momonosuke's face. I still strongly do believe that the first person that will see Momonosuke's face is Yamato. But so Luffy goes up with dragon form, new adult dragon form Momonosuke. They go up to the roof. Kaido senses it, because now, listen, Momonosuke heading up there with Ame no Habakiri in adult form. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be coming in there, you know, straight up Tsunachi slicing off my man's head, because, you know, it's just unrealistic. My man, even though he possibly could, I mean, if Ame no Habakiri is doing the same thing that Enma's doing, he could. But Momonosuke is nowhere near the caliber of a swordsman that Zoro is, so he wouldn't be able to handle it. But let's just say that he is able to utilize Ame no Habakiri to any type of extent, right? Just to the training that he was doing back at Act 2 allows him the opportunity to use Ame no Habakiri, whether it's against Kaido or against Orochi. That's another battle I would love to see, where an adult Momonosuke, looking or reminiscing that of Oden when he was younger, goes up against Orochi, and Orochi's just losing his mind, right? He is in a great amount of fear. He's like, holy sweet mother of Flagnards, the ghosts of Christmas past are here to haunt me once again. So, and the same thing with Kaido. Kaido's obviously going to see that Oden behind him, right? And he's going to see the legacy of Oden through Luffy and Yamato, and then Oden himself through Momonosuke. And it would go back into like the whole Momotaro thing going on right now, and I still don't know if that's actually going to happen with Marco. I mean, obviously with Zoro fighting King, if he is going to fight King, which I think is going to happen, Marco's going to have to go either have to replenish his energy, because he's utilized so much of his energy to replenish everyone else's on the floor during the whole Hyoko to the Flower stuff, or Marco legitimately ends up going to the roof. But because I think this is going to be such a personal battle between Luffy, Momonosuke, Yamato, and Kaido, and eventually he's going to probably, if Momonosuke does end up chasing after Orochi, it's just going to be Luffy and Yamato versus Kaido. So, at the end of the day, how other characters react to Momonosuke and how Momonosuke himself, so going back to Yamato, right? Yamato's interactions with Momonosuke is going to be very interesting. Because we know how much she admires Odin and how much she's willing to give herself for the Kosugi family. Momonosuke comes in looking like Odin. And we're going to get some, not only a very hilarious character interaction, but a very serious character interaction. Imagine a moment where Kaido sees her child, or Kaido sees his child, look down and bow before this man, showcasing that she sees him as her true, as the individual that that she wishes to follow, right? Like, Kaido, as of Pops, how would he feel about that? How would he feel about Yamato bowing before Momonosuke? Like, yo, you're the true leader of this country. I'm gonna help you in whatever means necessary. How would Kaido feel after seeing such a thing? You feel me? And it's stuff like that I cannot wait to see. As well as the very, like I said, the very funny and hilarious interactions between all three of them up there. But it's going to cause for some really awesome moments, man. If Momonosuke actually does get turned into an adult, the whole possibilities of Luffy riding on top of Momonosuke as they fight in the air. Let's just say that Onigashima continues to drop towards the flower capital, and Momonosuke is forced to learn how to utilize this technique. Kaido lets go of the strings, and Momonosuke himself has to keep Onigashima up from flying, so he's keeping it up in the air while also Luffy's on top of his back fighting Kaido. Like, it would cause for some really, really awesome sequences. The whole land, sea, and air thing, where they're fighting, you know, in the air, at sea, potentially, dragon form, Momonosuke carrying Luffy on this side, Kaido over here, and then whenever Luffy delivers the finishing blow in the air, signifying to everyone all over Wano that Kaido's been defeated, because they clearly see two dragons fighting, and one of them's going to have to fall. And so it's either going to be the pink dragon or the blue dragon, and everybody knows who the blue dragon is. And if it's hybrid form Kaido, man. So it would really cause for one of the most epic climaxes in the story, and there's so much potential for it. It already feels like a boss battle, so why not add this other layer on top of it too, right? So I really can't wait for it, man. I can't wait to see the interactions, regardless of what happens between Momonosuke either doing it or not doing it. But if he does do it, the interaction between Momonosuke and Yamato, Momonosuke and Kaido, really, really awesome stuff. And then Luffy taking on Kaido once more. I do wonder what Yamato and Momonosuke would do after that. I mean, I'm going to assume Yamato wouldn't have the energy to do anything else after fighting Kaido. But Momonosuke himself, you know, either watching over Yamato, maybe believing in Yamato and be like, nah, you stay up here with the king, with the goat with the coat. I'm going to go take care of business. And he goes and takes Ame no Habakiri and either decides he wants to fight Kaido alongside Luffy, or Orochi comes up there, or whatever the case may be, and then he takes on Orochi. Because I feel like I mean, we all know Orochi is not completely down. He definitely got pwned by Kinemon and the Scabbards, but I don't think he's completely down. So Momonosuke is definitely, I think, either going to have to go finish that deal. Either Momonosuke or Hiyori is finishing that deal. And I think the Hiyori plotline might come full circle there, because we remember how Hiyori was showcased, at least who we believe to be Hiyori, was showcased in, what was that, chapter 1004? Was that? So I think it was chapter 1004. And we never got to see who that was. So maybe we'll see an awesome situation of the first time that Hiyori and Momonosuke reunite is in front of Orochi, and the two of them, you know, the ghosts of Odin's past, his children, Hiyori and Momonosuke, here to take him out. How awesome would that be, man? You feel me? So it could cause for the reunion that Oda's been holding out on, you know, not showing the two of them meeting. They'll be able to meet both as adults and to take on Orochi and or Kaido. You know, who knows? Who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, Luffy's gonna have to be the one to defeat Kaido, but it would be awesome to see either Orochi or Kaido see Odin and Momonosuke and Hiyori, the next generation, the two of them, with Yamato there as well as the next generation of Wano, and or Orochi sees Hiyori and Momonosuke, right? And it's like, holy flying. So now you have individuals carrying Odin's will, both against Orochi and against Kaido on the roof. I think that would cause for some really awesome sequences that would just add on to how amazing this arc's already been. But I can't wait to see how all that stuff progresses. especially if Momonosuke actually ends up turning into an adult. How would he look like? I mean, of course, he has to look like Odin, but how many features will he retain that are exclusive to him? How is it going to change the way that he acts? I mean, and how people react to him, because remember, he's a kid right now, so everybody, like, anyone else reacts to him is different because he's a kid. But as an adult, they're probably going to expect a lot more out of him, right? So they're going to expect, the expectations are only going to get higher and higher. He's still going to have the heart and soul of a child, but he can't do the same things as a child that he's going to be able to do as an adult, right? So just that type of stuff is going to make it interesting whenever they do end up meeting Momonosuke once more. And also, just to end the video, if Momonosuke does get turned into an adult, I know the whole Straw Hat Cabin Boy theory has been around for a while about Momonosuke and Tama joining the crew as the cabin boys of the Straw Hats. This would definitely mess with that, unless Momonosuke were to join as the Odin of the crew, keeping the log of the journey. Because I know that is a popular theory about Momonosuke joining the Straw Hats and having Yamato stay behind as the Shogun, and vice versa, right? As Momonosuke staying behind as the Shogun and Yamato going off with the crew, or neither of them join. I'm just presenting the theories that were within the community and saying how these recent moments are going to have an impact on whether these things are actually going to happen or not. So I'm interested, man. I can't wait to see what Oda ends up doing with this. And we're going to have a week to think about it before we get right back into the awesome sauce. But what a chapter to leave off on a break, man. Excuse me. It was an awesome weekend. We had some Bleach greatness, Stone Ocean trailer, confirmation for a new Berserk chapter. In the midst of all of that, man, we had an amazing installment of the best-selling manga in history with some fantastic character moments, implications of some really awesome future moments. And man, what a time to be a fan of One Piece, bro. It's just anime and manga in general. But yeah, let me know what y'all thought about this week's chapter. If you have any more thoughts to share, I would love to read them in the comment section down below. But until then, I will see y'all next time. Have an awesome day. Take care. Robin greatness. Her character journey, man. Shout out to my boy Brooke. And will Momonosuke take the next step? Become an adult. Take his blade, the legendary Ame no Habakiri, and either throw it or point it at Kaido, or will he point it at Orochi? We'll see, man. Or both. We'll see. But we're in for some greatness, man. The climax of Wano is coming in soon. Battles are starting to end. And it's time. It is time to see. It's already been amazing. But to think that we haven't even seen the peak of this arc yet, greatness is incoming, man. Y'all have a blessed one. Take care.